Hello and welcome to Legislative Journal. I'm Faith Camp here with your representative, Brendan Boyle. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Well, we are in 2010. It is a new decade, new beginnings, which means it's time for the census. So let's talk a little bit about why you encourage your constituents to fill out this 10-questionnaire form.
Right. Well, it's just a little perspective. This is one of the few things in government we've been doing since the very beginning. The first census in the United States was 1790. It is mandated by the United States Constitution that once every 10 years we take an actual head count of every single person living in America, no matter how young, how old, citizen, non-citizen, whether you live in Philadelphia like I do, or live in Texas or Alaska, you've been here for 100 years or a day. As of April 1st, 2010, if you're living in the United States, you should be counted in the census. And it is from that census that all of the congressional districts nationwide are reapportioned. So it determines how much influence we have in Pennsylvania versus other states, where the district lines are drawn for members of the United States House of Representatives, Congress. And then additionally, it also affects how district lines are drawn in the State House and the State Senate. But even more than that, suppose you're someone who's not terribly interested in politics. The reason why the census is so important for Philadelphia, for Montgomery County, for other suburban areas, for anywhere in America, is that how the federal government allocates funds and how the state government allocates funds is based on population. And those population figures come from the census that is coming up. It will be used for the next 10 years. So education formula, formulas on all sorts of things really come down to the census. So it is so critical that every single person fill out the census form and be counted, because if you're not counted, then we'll lose critical federal dollars and we'll also lose state dollars. So it is important to fill out the census. I know they've made the form much shorter this year.
That's right. Now it's only 10 questions.
Yeah, that's right. So that should be a help as well. And I just encourage and urge everyone to fill out the form.
Okay, and it is also important to make sure everyone knows that your information is confidential. If you're here illegally, you won't be arrested, or if you owe back child support, because census workers are not allowed to share your information with other federal or state agencies.
Right. That's correct, and that's a very good point that you raised, because you might have some people, say that a non-citizen from the former Soviet Union area living in Northeast Philadelphia, or a non-U.S. citizen in a different area, and they might be concerned. While I in no way encourage illegal immigration, let me be clear, but if you are living here and you fill out one government form, let it be this form, because quite frankly, that person is requiring a certain degree of services that the rest of us are paying for. So we at least want to have that person counted, so that way we get a true picture of what the population of an area looks like. Even if someone doesn't think they're getting any government services, if you have extra people on the street, that's someone who's using our roads, someone who's living there, who's going to the post office. And where post offices end up in different neighborhoods and different parts is based on the population of a given area. So the census, the importance of it really can't be overstated. And it is also important to keep in mind that, as you mentioned, that information is confidential. So I think of my grandmother when she was alive, and she would get a question with a number of what she would call newsy questions. She wouldn't fill it out. It's no one's business. She would say, well, this really is important. It's not because someone's interested in your personal life for reasons of gossip. It's because we do need this data in order to allocate those federal funds and to get a true picture of where the country looks at. And then the final point I'd make is just from a social science perspective, it is great to have this data. You can look back and look at the way America looked like in terms of our biggest cities and our population centers in 1790, and then how it looked like in 1850, and then how it looked like in 1910, 100 years ago. 5 of the 10 biggest cities in the country were all in the Northeast 100 years ago: New York, Boston, Baltimore, Philadelphia. And Pittsburgh was also one of the largest cities. Now we have a population that's spread out in the Southwest and in the Sun Belt. And so the census enables us to take a step back and look at who we are as a people in the year 2010 and then be able to compare that to previous decades.
That's right. It's more about information, and now is not the time when our state, our country, is actually not exactly affluent and wealthy right now. Now's not the time to give up federal dollars.
Right. Those federal dollars are critical at any time, but especially this one when we're going through the toughest economy in about 80 years, the toughest state budget that we ever had. Those federal dollars are a big help here at home, and we don't want to make sure that we get every dollar that we are entitled to get, and that we don't shortchange ourselves.
Okay. Well, now we are going to take a break and look at some more information on what the census really is and what it entails.
This is Eye on Pennsylvania, a bi-weekly look at Pennsylvania politics from the House Democratic Caucus.
Hi, I'm Faith Camp, and welcome to Eye on Pennsylvania. A new decade is here, and that means you'll be receiving this form in the mail pretty soon. In this episode of Eye on Pennsylvania, we'll show you why you should fill one out.
The census is a snapshot of our country, and legislators at all levels of government and even business needs it for planning.
The census has been conducted every 10 years since 1790. It's a count of the number of people living in the United States. It determines so many things, including how many representatives you have in Congress. The government also uses the population counts based on the census to distribute billions of dollars in aid each year.
The higher our count, the more funds we get. So it's really important that people fill out the forms, that they participate in the census.
Billions of dollars for new hospitals, schools, and roads are doled out based on the data collected by the census. So is the money to help people in need.
For instance, in this cold weather, when you might need heating assistance, if you haven't answered the census, people won't know you're there, and there won't be planning that's adequate to meet your need.
It's a quick, short form. We hope that everybody will participate, and it will help us better serve the constituents here in Pennsylvania.
Questionnaires will be mailed to households across the nation in March and will need to be returned to the Census Bureau by April 1st. The information you provide to the Census Bureau is protected by law, and so is your privacy. Census workers are not allowed to share your information with police or any other local, state, or federal agency.
It's all confidential. No one's going to get anything done to them as a result of participating. The only thing that happens if they don't participate is that we lose funds.
So remember to keep an eye out on your mailbox for your 2010 census form and to fill it out. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again next time.